Hi there guys, welcome back to Dad Plays Stuff, and this is another episode of the Rock'em Sock'em Arsenal series, where you get to watch me PvP and get my ass kicked, and hopefully kick some ass as well. So before we get into the meat of it, please leave a like, a comment and subscribe for more content like this in the future. So this is the first battle, and this guy proved to be quite difficult to land a hit on. I was still getting my build in order to try to get a bead on what works and what doesn't. The big problem with PvP in this game is that people move completely differently towards the arsenals that you face in game, so you have to completely adapt your style of play based on that. The arsenals in game quite frequently will, if they've got a melee weapon, they'll just come straight after you, come at you in a straight line. Or the sniper ones will always try and maintain their distance, but at the same time they don't adapt. Whereas against people, obviously, they change up and they change what they're going to do, and they'll do things that are unexpected, and they'll make mistakes. There's all sorts of things in there. Now this guy he kept playing really defensively in the beginning, and in the middle of the fight he changed it up and got incredibly aggressive, and it caught me off guard. His damage output was pretty damn insane, and I just didn't seem to be able to land a hit on him for the most part. What I did learn from this fight is that the blitz weapons just don't seem to be too effective in PvP. Whether it's they've not got enough HP, they don't do enough damage, it just basically made my shoulder weapon essentially useless for this entire fight. He destroyed my, I call them aeroids because it's from a thing from Xenogears, but he basically destroyed them really quickly, and then I just had my guns basically, while he kept his distance, rushed in and just shot me to bits. Now, something to be aware of when it comes to the PvP in Daemon X Machina. Don't be fooled by someone's, well, I suppose it's like the rank they've got. That huge number beside my name versus the 0 beside his. It doesn't really mean anything. You can lose huge amounts and gain huge amounts in each battle. I think in one battle I gained over 100k of it from a guy that was just heavily high ranked. Now that could be because your build particularly just minces the opponents, whether you've got laser weapons and they've got no laser defense, you've used bullet weapons and they've got only laser defense, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't mean a huge amount. If I'm honest, at this stage, people are still learning what works for them, and what generally doesn't work. As you can see, I'm still using my blitz weapon, which again is useless. It's absolutely garbage in PvP, and in the next match I do change that up a little bit. Attachments and parts are something I'm still experimenting with. Specifically the head attachments and sight attachments, as well as gun arm, that kind of thing. Try to find out what works, what increases damage, what increases my lock-on time, my lock-on range, all that kind of thing. So I can get optimized so that I can charge enemies and hit them really quick, but also maintain a kind of barrage from a distance. Now these next two enemies I'm particularly proud of. Both of them were snipers, and they wanted to keep their range on me. The first was technically the trickier of the two, for a different reason to the second. Now, what he kept doing was moving around the arena and blinking to get out of my sight, which was effective in the beginning. Now, I say it was effective in the beginning because it had one major flaw in that strategy. He kept using the mirage technique to basically create a doppelganger, which in most cases would distract you, but it doesn't blink, or rather it doesn't blink in the same way that a person does. he was blinking in a basically big circle around the arena, which was a massive red flag that he was the real pilot. So I just basically focused him down. There was also a case of, because he was circling around the arena, he didn't have control over the centre, which was the biggest source of femto in the area. So I'd pretty much just land in the middle and gain the femto. There was also a case of, because he was at distance, he wasn't able to utilise the healing pod things when I blew them up. So I'd start healing up, he'd try and come in to try and hurt me, and this is exactly what I wanted. He's closing a gap that I've been trying to close. As you can see, I'm taking little pot shots at him and I'm wearing him down slowly either way. The next guy, however, this strategy works on a lot better. Now, right from the get-go, I can tell this guy is a distance build. He is significantly faster than my arsenal. It's impossible for me to catch up because he is so fast. My first strategy that I try is basically trying to cut him off. The whole Space Invader technique. Don't aim where he is, aim where he's going to be. So I was trying to catch him by pinning them up against the barrier and myself. So I flank left, flank right, try and get around them, that kind of thing. But he's so fast, his arsenal is clearly made for just basically getting out of my way in every way, shape or form and avoiding getting a lock on or getting any meaningful hits. Against another sniper build, his build would definitely struggle. His arsenal's going to be quite flimsy and quite weak. So if another sniper were to come across him and that sniper was more tanky, then it would literally be a battle of who can dodge whose attacks more. And I guarantee you he'd probably do quite well with that, but at the same time, if it was just a full out hit for hit, he would lose. Now I switch up my strategy a bit. I know for a fact he doesn't want to get close, which means he's not going to take hits very well off of me. So I start using the tall buildings as a kind of buffer between me and him. If he can't see me, he can't hit me. There's also the factor that I can use that time to charge femto from the hotspots. Then, once I've got enough femto, I can cast Mirage, and then he's got two targets to deal with. He needs to figure out what the real me is actually doing. So, while he's potentially distracted by the Mirage, I can get a couple of quick hits in, hopefully, which was the intention of it. There's also the added bonus, as you can see, it lures him in a bit closer. And, as I said, if he's close to me and I hit him, he's going to take a good amount of damage. So, trying to draw him in is the key point, or at least trying to distract him from, stopping the real me. Now, this goes back and forth for a while, as you've seen, and I'm not really getting any fundamental damage on it. It feels to me like he's trying to deal damage when he can, but mostly trying to run out the clock because he's figured out he's not really going to be able to take me out. I have a theory that at this point his ammo is getting quite low as well, so he's probably panicking a little bit. And it's at this point I start thinking about utilising the strategy that I used in the previous round to lure the other guy in. And as a result, this guy makes some fatal errors trying to stop me from utilising healing points. Overall though, his strategy is pretty solid. Maintain distance, which he did really well, and deal damage when you can. But it is the weakness of the sniper rifles when you're in an area where there's a lot of big buildings, or if your opponent figures out that being aggressive isn't the best standpoint. It's one of those fights where the smarter player, or rather the player who plays smarter, is going to win. It's difficult to fight against range, like super range guys. But if I was being honest, I could literally just avoid all of his attacks by just hiding behind a wall most of the match and basically forcing him to come to me. Yeah, it's really boring and I don't like doing it, and I did a little bit of it to try and push him in. And it's the big problem with the range fights is it gets really boring. I mean, it's a case of they're trying to eliminate your ability to do anything, and it's just really, really boring. It's a boring fight when someone plays so defensively, if I'm honest. It's not my playstyle at all. Never has been in any game. And here is where you start seeing him doing exactly what I want him to do. He panics because he thinks that I'm going to heal up to a point where I'm going to have more health than he is, which means he automatically loses by default. So he tries to close that gap and deal some damage to me, or stop me from healing altogether. Unfortunately, that's the big mistake he made. Coming in that close when he's that flimsy, there was no way that his damage output was going to exceed mine, so he was just going to get himself burned. It wasn't a close match, but in the end, I managed to scrape the barrel by basically tricking him into attacking me up close. And that's why sometimes the better build, or rather the more sneaky build, isn't going to win. Now remember I said earlier about the number defining your rank means very little? This is a prime example of it. I mean, I'll let the battle speak for itself. It's a short one. 100% honest, don't know what he thought he was doing with that laser. I mean, literally, it's probably one of the most inaccurate things to use on a player. Now this was one of my favourite matches that I played today. It was a really close one in comparison to other ones, where me and this guy basically just wailed on each other. No cheap tactics, no really weird crap going on, just brutal force and dodging skill and things like that. And I'll be honest, you can see clearly in the footage, I fall short. guy is definitely a better player than me, maybe has better attachments. I really don't know. It's hard to say if someone's got a better kit than you. Definitely had a better build. He was definitely more accurate, whether that was due to how he played, or how I played, or how his arsenal was made. I really can't say, but I got creamed basically. But I did give a good fight. I got him down to about, I believe, 45% roughly. And in the end, that's all that really matters, that I gave it a good go. Now, I went into this fight underestimating this guy. He, out of everybody that I fought today, probably gave me one of the best fights. He uses the terrain exceptionally well. I was actually so surprised. Mad respect for the guy by the end of the fight. And I think it would do him a disservice for you guys not to watch it. So, that was the video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. Please don't. And make sure to leave a sub and a comment. I would really like feedback from anybody that would be willing to give it on PvP tactics, that kind of thing, what you think about my PvP. My build is still in progress. I'm starting to get all the attachments that I want, that kind of thing, in the time I'm not filming these and creating videos. So, yeah. Thank you again for watching, and catch you next time.